Good evening and a very warm welcome to the 12th annual LGIU and CCLA Councillor Awards. This is the only awards ceremony celebrating the individual achievements of councillors in England and Wales. I'm Paul Murricane. I'm your Master of Ceremonies for the evening. My main role is to make sure that things run to time. That's basically it. I'm a former broadcaster and journalist, and I'm delighted to be your presenter here this evening. Well, if ever there was a year to celebrate the achievements of councillors, surely this is it. We are now beginning, I think, to emerge. It's wonderful that we're back in person tonight. Particularly pleased to be here at the headquarters of Camden Council in Pancras Square. What a magnificent building it is. And thanks to our prestigious hosts at Camden Council for us to be here this evening. Indeed, yes, feel free to cheer. We do have people actually alive and breathing, and I'm glad to say that it's masks off because everybody has been tested. Everybody that's in the room has proved negative, so we are being very much COVID compliant here in the room. Also, we have some distinguished guests and the judges. They are joining, many of them here tonight, many on Zoom as well. And if you are joining us on Zoom, put your cameras on. We're going to cut to you just in a few seconds. We'd like to see you there. And maybe if your cameras are on, we can see you all on the screen. And there they are. And give us a wave so that we can see you there. Terrific to see you all. More joining by the minute. That's absolutely excellent. We've had so many entries, by the way, for this, more than ever before. There are 48 finalists that we're going to be celebrating in 7 categories this evening, so a lot of that. Now, as well as the event here this evening, it's being streamed live on YouTube to a considerable audience out there. It was big last year, probably going to be even bigger this year. As a result of it being on YouTube, there is, for those of you watching on the streaming, there is a chat box to the right, so feel free to chat away on that. Any comments you could care to give us, we'd love to see them, so please do that. And if you're going to tweet about the LGIU and CCLA Awards this evening, there's a hashtag. The hashtag it's basically Councillor Awards. It's CLLR Awards in true Panto style. It's behind me. So CLLR Awards is the hashtag if you're tweeting, and we hope very much that you'll do that, and maybe even send in some pictures of the way that you're celebrating. Perhaps a glass of bubbly, perhaps balloons will be involved, whatever it might be, then we'd love to see your pictures. Well, to start the event proper, I'd like to announce now and to introduce Jonathan Carr-West. I'm sure you'll be very familiar with him. He's Chief Executive Officer of LGIU, and he will give us a bit about the background to the awards and how things are going to be progressing this evening. Jonathan.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Well, good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to see you here. As Paul said, I'm Jonathan Carr-West. I'm Chief Exec of LGIU. And it's really great to see so many people here in person in a real life event. But it's also great to have so many of you joining us virtually. We have over 150 people on the Zoom call. So welcome to all of you as well. It's one of my greatest pleasures as Chief Exec of LGIU to host these awards every year. And given what a year 2021 has been, I think they're more significant than ever. Because local government supports all of us, each and every day, on every street, in every town, up and down the country. It's the vital work of councillors, of many of you, that keeps things moving. And that's why we're so proud to host these awards, celebrating once again the hard work and commitment of councillors from across England and Wales. And these are the 12th annual LGIU and CCLA Council Awards. And the past year has reminded us, I think, of the effort and the lengths that councillors go to support their citizens. And we were overwhelmed by some of the powerful stories and some of the experiences that came through in the nominations. And you're going to hear many of those tonight. And as Paul said, we had an unprecedented number of nominations this year, more than we've ever had before by a long way. And we often talk about councils and local government in terms of institutions. But these awards remind us, I think, that behind those institutions, making up those institutions, are real people, making real differences to the lives of their constituents. And as our cities, our towns, our villages emerge from the pandemic, or try and recover from the pandemic, these awards, I think, are a really important way to champion what local councillors do for their communities. The only awards that celebrate the achievement of individual councillors as councillors. The nominations we received this year were amazing. The competition was incredibly tough, really difficult to decide on the winner. So I'm more grateful than ever to our judging panel for their time and their expertise. And of course, I'm grateful to our founding partners, CCLA, who've been with us from the beginning of these awards 12 years ago, and without whom they just wouldn't be possible. So thank you again to all of you for joining us here tonight, and I look forward to unveiling the winners together this evening. Thank you.
Well, we have some special guests here tonight as well, and I'm going to ask first, it's a real pleasure to ask Councillor Michael Payne, who's Deputy Leader of Gedling Borough Council and also Chair of Local Government Information Unit, to say a few words. Michael.
Thank you very much, Paul, and welcome everybody to the 12th Annual Councillor Awards. I think as Paul and Jonathan have already said, these are the only awards that recognise the achievements of councillors throughout England and Wales. And you know, it's been a really tough time, I think, for our communities and for local government over the last 18 months. So it's so heartening for us to be able to come together and to celebrate the fantastic work that you're doing day in, day out in your communities that make not only your communities the great place to live, work and socialise, but also I think that make this country such a great country as well. We here in the LGIU believe that decisions are best made locally. And I think, as Jonathan says tonight, the nominations we've seen, the fantastic and inspirational work that you've been doing over the last year, and many of you for decades and decades before that in your own local communities, proves really what the LGIU is all about, that decisions really are best made locally. Real difference really is best made in local communities. So I'm really proud that we're a membership organisation that's led by local government, for local government. I'm proud to chair a cross-party board, and I'm really, really proud tonight that we are going to be celebrating some of the very best of public service throughout England and Wales. Thank you so much for those of you who are joining on Zoom. Thank you to those of you who are joining us here tonight. A big thank you to Camden Council for hosting us with some stunning views tonight over London. But I just want to finish by saying a particular thank you to our sponsors, and in particular to CCLA. We at the LGIU wouldn't be able to do the work that we do to support our membership organisations, our councils and our councils, but also we wouldn't be able to host these awards tonight and celebrate the fantastic success without the support of CCLA. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic evening, and whether you're a winner or not tonight, you're all winners, and thank you for your public service.
Michael Payne, Chair of LGIU there. Thanks very much. Well, now I'd like to ask Councillor James Jamieson, Leader of Central Bedfordshire Council, but Chairman of the LGIU, to say a few words. Councillor Jamieson, we're honoured to have you here tonight, and here's the microphone.
Thank you very much. And if I can just issue a correction, I stood down after nearly 10 years as Leader of Central Bedfordshire, and Richard Wenham is doing a delightful job there, so I don't want to claim that thunder, but I'm delighted to be here this evening in my role as Chairman of the LGA. And I'm going to repeat what has been said previously by Michael and Jonathan. You know, you are doing a fantastic job, and not just you in the room, but you on YouTube and you on Zoom and throughout local government. We could not have come through this pandemic in the way that we have without local government. And I've seen in my role time and time and again throughout this pandemic, government has hit a problem and they've gone, damn, how do I fix this? And then you get the phone call at the last minute to say, can we distribute some business grants? Can we go and support some vulnerable people? how on earth do we do test and trace? By the way, we did tell them at the start how to do test and trace, but eventually they got there. So, it is the fantastic work that all of you have done on that, and I, want to say thank you. We're all here because we care about our residents, and it doesn't matter what colour rosette you are, that is our primary focus, and that's the great thing about local government, is we unite to support our residents and deliver for our residents, and that's why it's absolutely right that we come here today and we celebrate the work of councillors, because it's not councils. Councils are made up of individuals and fantastic work done by staff, but time and time again I am just amazed at what individual councils have done to support their community in special ways. So it's great that we're doing this today, and so thank you very much to every one of those councillors, and frankly we're just scratching the surface tonight. There are, I can't remember, about 20,000 councillors across the world, across the UK, so we probably need 20,000 awards, but might take a little bit too long for that. So thank you. I'm not going to go through everything that everyone has done. It's brilliant. And can I say thank you to Jonathan and Michael for all the work that they do, and CCLA as well in sponsoring these awards. It's great that you do this, and it's great that we celebrate it. And so I will now go on to the main part of the business, which is back to yourself, and let's start celebrating.
Well, indeed, a lot of people being congratulated, but now the people you really want to see being congratulated. So now to the awards ceremony proper. We're very excited to be able to announce to show you all their stories of all they're known as the nominees, but actually you're all finalists. You've all made it to the final. Here's how it will work. Jonathan will introduce the shortlist. We'll go through the finalists. We'll hear and see some remarkable stories, the stories of all the finalists on video, in video packages, and then Jonathan and or our special guests will have the pleasure of announcing the actual winner. So, first category is Community Champion. Jonathan, over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Michael and Jane. So yes, Community Champion. So this is for a councillor who's a mile in supporting their community, and it's always the most popular category each year. We get literally hundreds of nominations for this category alone. So let's hear all about this year's shortlist.
If you were to stand in the centre of Caerphilly and say, hands up, who knows Kevin Etheridge, you'd see a forest of waving hands. Rarely has this independent councillor encountered a local issue without doing something about it. Famously once chaining himself to railings to save Pontlanfraith Leisure Centre, it was typical of his modesty that he never revealed he'd just survived a battle with cancer. Of course, he later used his experience to campaign on behalf of thousands of sufferers. From local food banks to road safety, campaigning against intrusive building projects, getting proper transport links to the local hospital, and his latest triumph when Blackwood bus station public toilets faced closure, he persuaded the Taxi Association to step in and keep them going, with much relief all round South Wales. As opposition lead on the Environment and Housing Select Committee at Hillingdon London Borough Council, Scott Farley has shown remarkable powers of persuasion. He put forward such a compelling case for the transformation of a local playground that it was delivered by the council, turning it from a run-down park with lots of antisocial behaviour to a pleasant, enjoyable and importantly safe environment. In fact, his influence has spread much wider, as in this street.
Lighting has stopped, the antisocial behaviour has stopped. It's just been a completely different atmosphere around here, and now I can sort of breathe and wake up and look out the window and not see, half of somebody's house in the garage area. The parking's got a lot better, obviously now we've got the camera, and it stops a lot of crime in this area, which is absolutely amazing. So, thanks to Scott, who kept in contact with me on a regular basis.
Bazil Solomon. And my name is Shaz Saleem. We are here to tell you about our learning experience with Invicta Academy. We are doing Key Stage 3. Invicta Academy has assisted us to fill in our gaps of learning loss. Not just to fill in our gaps of learning loss, to help us achieve higher than we thought we could. And now we are ahead of our class. Thank you, Invicta.
Two voices that tell you all you need to know about Councillor Anna Firth's achievement. She founded and ran Invicta Summer Academy, which reached capacity with over 25,000 lessons booked and more children and parents waiting. Anna then started sister academies in London, Oxfordshire, Surrey and Lancashire, recruiting 4 more teams of teachers, IT specialists, safeguarding leads and coordinators. By the end of this summer year, the Invicta National Academy has delivered a further 82,500 live lessons to around 5,000 children around the UK.
I'm Antonia's dad. Antonia's in year 3. She loves the Invicta classes. They're a real lifeline during lockdown.
The teachers are really kind and generous and helpful. I love Invicta.
But that's not all. When child suicides and self-harming became an issue in Kent, Anna co-created an award-winning internet safety campaign called Digital Sunset Challenge to get phones out of children's bedrooms.
This happened every night as the bully knew that Charlotte would be on her own with no one around to help.
Some of my parents, like when they were younger, if they got bullied, they could leave it at the school gates. But now with cyberbullying and social media, it can never, ever escape from your bedroom, if you understand. It's like so instant to get bullied, and that's why I find it very, very daunting. And we need to educate our young people how to stay safe online.
Sometimes it's not just how people act that makes for quality of life, it's their surroundings. And Bridget Fishleiga, Community Champion finalist for Brighton and Hove, has put not just all her energy, but that of the entire community into transforming the dark, dingy and dangerous Saltdean Tunnel through to the beach into a bright walkway with a fabulous mural which feels safe to use to access the seafront. In addition, money raised has also restored public toilets. She's also been heavily involved in fundraising and campaigning for the restoration of the listed Saltdean Lido as a community asset. Bridget gathered a group of local volunteers and together they cleared the area, cutting back the greenery, painting the railings and clearing rubbish. This has led to the tunnel being cleared of graffiti and painted with this wonderful underwater scene as people regain a sense of pride in their surroundings. Land that is blighted, neglected and used as a dump can often seem impossible to tackle. It requires very careful handling of people, combined with passion and resilience and a clear vision of how things could be better. That, they say, is what marks out Councillor Vick Jenkins. Over the years, there have been numerous complaints about the state of land behind a chicken takeaway in Shipley. Vick contacted the owners of the takeaway, made numerous visits, built up a positive relationship and also contacted the owner of an adjacent garage which looked untidy and neglected. The yard of the takeaway started to appear tidier and the owner of the garage performed a miracle on the overgrowth around it. And just last year, Councillor Jenkins felt moved to take a stance against her fellow Labour councillors' plan to pursue a major road widening in the approach from Bradford to Shipley. It might have been politically uncomfortable, but by biting this particular bullet, she helped launch the Bradford-Shipley Travel Alliance of 17 community and environmental groups with cross-party support that has real weight in the debate about the road plans and is making a real contribution to education about climate change and air pollution. Kelly Middleton's ward has some of the highest levels of social disadvantage in England, with many families struggling to provide school uniforms for their children. As a single parent herself, hearing about a child who was bullied because they'd outgrown their trousers, Kelly launched a school uniform project, seeking donations of second-hand and new school uniforms for distribution initially within her ward and then more widely across the rest of the borough. Under Kelly's leadership, this has grown from a ward-based project to one which now operates across the borough in partnership with town and parish councils, the Citizens Advice Bureau and Telford Interfaith Council. The scaling up of the project has been particularly important during the pandemic, which has caused additional financial hardship for many. Now in its 4th year, the project has helped hundreds and hundreds of struggling families, not only in Kelly's ward, but across the whole borough. The Telford and Wrekin community has taken the project to heart, with residents actively seeking to donate ahead of each new school year. Kelly still plays an active part in the project, personally fielding donations over the phone and via her Facebook page. Alad's leadership in helping business weather the pandemic is both remarkable and is delivering lasting outcomes. 2 projects have been key to Wandsworth's recovery following the COVID lockdowns. Particularly, Alad promoted the pedestrianisation of 3 major high streets to permit post-lockdown alfresco dining. Its success even made the ITV news.
It's been really astounding, actually. So not just there's been a 30% increase in trade on last year, but also, some businesses have reported that they've brought staff back from furlough because of this scheme. They've actually taken on staff.
It's been a bit of a lifeline for us, and what we've been able to do is kind of extend outside. So al fresco shopping and dining, which has been wonderful, and it's attracted a lot of locals who wouldn't ordinarily actually shop or eat in Balham.
The initiative that the council have put in place by locking down the street.
That's been really good. It's been great, honestly. The council have really done wonders for Northcote Road, and hopefully everyone's happy and we can continue to do this.
Oh, it was fantastic. We came down here and we're like, what's happened? Why is it like this? And then we're like, it feels like everyone's on holiday.
We're learning every weekend that we do this. I'm very active on social media to try and make sure that we are getting feedback from everybody. What we decided to do is stop the road, or is close the road in blocks, which I think makes sure that we're as inclusive as we can be to both residents and also businesses.
Alad has brought social media to the council by revamping their Facebook, Nextdoor and Instagram feeds, which means residents are both better informed and find it easier to get in touch through channels they're more comfortable with. A TikTok account is apparently imminent. To call Shaz Saleem a powerhouse is to underestimate his influence on his Midlands constituency of Dudley. Through the Saleem Foundation, he's campaigned on issues as diverse as child sex abuse, domestic violence, and he's persuaded his ethnically diverse population about vaccine safety to encourage as many as possible to get protected against COVID.
I myself have had people contact me who are worried and apprehensive about getting the vaccine. Firstly, I want to assure you the vaccine has been approved for use in the UK, having met strict standards of safety, quality and effectiveness.
And he's an enthusiastic supporter of blood donation. Councillor Saleem's nomination doesn't really mention all of this. It concentrates on the KNWH Youth Club, which has given youngsters in Dudley a positive start in life.
He inspired my 7-year-old daughter to become school councillor, and when she achieved that, she was proud and couldn't wait to tell him. My 8-year-old son, he struggles with his emotions, but each and every week he comes out with a positive attitude. And one thing that Shaz tries to get across to the children is respect, and that is exactly what I see each and every time that he comes out of the youth group. I cannot recommend him enough.
I don't even know where to start with this guy. What an absolute inspiration. I think Shaz has taught us all what the word councillor really means, to work for the people and with the people.
And for the young at heart, the KPH Cuppa Club is Shaz's way of bringing positivity to many lives.
With COVID, a lot of people have felt isolated, and it's a nice, warm, welcoming and reassuring environment. We've even got a WhatsApp group, so they can still feel part of the group when they're not there. And the aim is to do trips, lunches, things like that going into 2022. Without Shaz and his vision, none of that would have been possible.
They say of Bazil Solomon, he cares. Not one of those shake my hand, take my vote, then treat me like a ghost, says a constituent. He works very hard to make a change. The range of changes that Councillor Solomon has achieved include bringing the Lakes and Lagoons volunteers together for litter picks, conservation and fishing, and supporting Swindon's charity that is exactly what it says on the tin, the best charity.
We specialise in working with at-risk young people, providing intensive mentoring programmes for 11 to 25-year-olds to help engage them help them with their mental health, engage in activities such as boxing, martial arts and sport. So thanks for having Don.
My name is Don Bryden. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Best. Best really started off with a personal experience that myself and my family went through, and it's grown into something absolutely unbelievable to the extent that it's grown into a position now where we've actually looking to acquire larger premises.
It's her work for the community that marks Maria Watson out. You might think it's the small things such as litter picking or helping deprived families at Easter or Christmas, but these loom large in the lives of people whose heart is in community life.
When we had the pandemic last year, and this year to be honest, she's gone above and beyond. When people were not available to do their shifts for certain works from the council, Maria has stepped in. From hand wiping and sanitising children's playgrounds, from leaf blowing leaves off the pavement so that pensioners wouldn't fall. To me, this is true dedication.
Maria is also involved with feeding the homeless and regularly goes out on the streets of an evening, feeding and offering warm clothing in the winter.
She's actually an inspiration to the Clifton area. She does loads of amazing work to support vulnerable people and families that need a lot of support.
As one nomination put it, never a dull moment in her tireless efforts to make the community a better place to live.
So I told you there were some amazing stories in this. Before we announce the winner, on behalf of the judging panel, I'd like to give a special commendation to Councillor Vick Jenkins of the City of Bradford Metropolitan District Council. Congratulations, Councillor Jenkins. And now, I'm very proud to announce that this year's community champion is Councillor Kevin Etheridge of Caerphilly County Borough Council. Congratulations, Well done.
I'd like to thank everyone for nominating me, and this is an award for the residents and people of South Wales and Caerphilly County Borough. I would like to thank the LGA and everybody, and I'm quite overwhelmed, and thank you very much.
Well done, well done. Those on Zoom will have heard the last half of that anyway. So congratulations, Kevin, for that. Okay, we move on now to the category for Environment and Sustainability Pioneer. And we can hear some words and join Councillor Caroline Jackson, who's the leader of Lancaster City Council.
It was a real privilege to serve on the Councillor Awards judging panel this year. And I'm so pleased to be able to present this year's Environment and Sustainability Pioneer Award with you all tonight. With the effects of the pandemic still making themselves felt and catastrophic extreme weather becoming more frequent, it's become clear that human life is taking its toll on the natural world. As we switch to recovery, there is a greater need for environmental and ecological thinking and delivery. Councils are at the forefront of preventing the climate crisis and implementing sustainable climate action. Councillors have many opportunities to use their position to improve the local and the global environment and promote sustainability. They're working through council-level strategies and grassroots community projects, as well as committing to net zero targets and renewable energy projects. In order to deliver on these ambitions, councillors must also engage with the public and support community-led environmental and sustainability projects. So this award showcases the efforts of councillors who've gone above and beyond in this space. So let's hear a bit more about the shortlist.
While the eyes of the world were on Britain for the COP26 climate change conference, it's fitting that Green councillor Denise Craghill has become nominated for her work in changing the City of York's housing policy to prioritise ultra-low energy passive house standard homes. These are now in development. This is clearly much higher than all the minimum standards statutorily required, with national housing standards treated as an absolute minimum. These developments include a good percentage of affordable homes, so delivering the housing residents need whilst building healthy homes and neighbourhoods, creating distinctive and beautiful places which bring communities together, all while reducing impact on the environment and residents' energy bills, and supporting sustainable transport choices and connectivity. But as with everything, it's important to bring the public with you. And so, Denise's housing department designs their new neighbourhoods alongside the local community through public engagement, which empowers stakeholders. Mike Hakata, Deputy Leader of Haringey Council and Cabinet Member for Environment, Transport and the Climate Emergency, has championed a whole series of community projects over the summer. An urban arboretum on a residential street, a forest garden on a dilapidated square that a community group is desperate to turn around, a tiny forest in a park next to a school, and an edible maze in Finsbury Park. These are creative and ambitious ideas, the sort that don't usually get as far as a formal funding bid. Each project started life in the community, dreamt up by local people. Each project drew in different community groups and local residents who might help to navigate local and regional policies and regulations. Mike persisted with the project, negotiated co-production solutions, and secured the permissions needed to submit formal bids for funding, a genuine exercise in public-community partnership. They say that Mike's a fantastic communicator, great with people, great at reaching out, humble, fair but firm, and full of energy. He's a thoughtful, eloquent writer, and a very human one too, whose pieces look beyond the echo chambers to those still yet to be persuaded. As leader of the Green Group on North Somerset Council, Bridget Petty's track record shows she's a remarkably organised campaigner. Campaigns are not just wide-ranging, they're very specific. Examples: she was the first in England and Wales to introduce carbon literacy training for all members and officers, attended by the Chief Executive and directors, making it mandatory for all managers. She got a green infrastructure strategy approved, an active travel strategy which prioritises walking and cycling over car travel. She introduced regular 6-monthly reporting about progress towards zero carbon by 2030. Her work has led to North Somerset promoting Solar Together, a bulk purchasing scheme for solar electricity generation and battery storage. Her passion stopped the Bristol Airport expansion scheme. She's facilitated joining UK 100, a network of highly ambitious local government leaders which seeks to devise and implement plans for the transition to clean energy that are ambitious, cost-effective, and take the public and business with them. Councillor Angeliki Stogia doesn't just get on her bike, she's taken action to encourage everyone to get pedalling towards a green vision for Manchester. Councillor Stogia, who came to Manchester from Greece in 1995, has pioneered delivery of Cyclops. That's the cycle-optimised protected signals junction at Royce Road in Hume, the first Cyclops installed in the UK. This maximises opportunities for safer cycling and walking, while making the junction more efficient for all road users. The scheme also included segregated cycleways on connecting streets as part of a 5-kilometre route linking Chorlton with the city centre. But her influence has been much wider. She played a key role in Manchester's climate change partnership and was also central to the development of the city's climate change action plan, including both leading council action and influencing partners to deliver change. She also led delivery of Manchester's sustainable transport agenda towards the vision for Manchester as a livable, connected, zero-carbon city. For Kensington and Chelsea Councillor Johnny Thalasitis, hard work and a hands-on approach have been the key to achieving real change in the borough. For example, snap polling to inform planning policies and development has been transformative. Some people have said Kensington and Chelsea is too reliant on a small coterie of resident groups in assessing what local people think. Using Built ID, Kensington and Chelsea now regularly sees thousands of engagements with planning policy consultations. For example, one project, which previously would have averaged no more than 30 votes, attracted 5,258. This is democracy in action. Another very successful project spearheaded by Councillor Thalasitis is acoustic cameras. These cameras detect excessive noise from motorbikes and vehicles and then issue fixed penalty notices to the offenders. This reached a global audience, with interest coming from local authorities as far away as the United States, Spain and Australia, and as close as other London boroughs such as Westminster and Bromley. No more sleepless nights in city streets. COVID has been a rotten time for everyone. Social interactions especially were sorely missed, especially by the young and otherwise healthy who were locked in. So when lockdown eased, by May this year, Kensington and Chelsea had issued 500 licences to outdoor hospitality businesses. Donny's willingness to help and promote the alfresco revolution as a priority has been very welcomed and incredibly well received by small businesses and residents alike.
And we are honoured to reveal that this year's Environment and Sustainability Pioneer is Councillor Angeliki Stogia of Manchester City Council. Many congratulations.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely overwhelmed. I'd like to dedicate this to every single councillor that has been fighting climate change. And oh my God, this is a mighty fight that we all need to work together to deliver against. I am so looking forward to keep inspiring you, but also to keep being inspired by you. And also this award is for every single Mancunian who held me to account, who held my feet into the fire and has pushed me to do more. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. Well, now we move to the category for innovation and service transformation. And I'd like to ask Jonathan to come up and tell us the stories of the nominees.
Thank you, Paul. So, the Innovation and Service Transformation Award celebrates councillors who have pioneered new ways of delivering high-quality council services. This year, more than ever, this has been really, really important. So let's hear about this year's shortlist.
Homelessness is one of the greatest scourges of our time, and often the homeless without a fixed address are trapped in poverty. Paul Bell's transformative achievement has been the proxy address scheme for homeless people. Without a fixed address, they couldn't claim benefits or get a job, keeping the cycle going. Paul led on the setting up of proxy addresses for homeless people to take them out of the cycle of poverty and unemployment and finding a permanent address. Amongst his many testimonials, you find that Paul suffers with dyslexia and chronic health issues. He was himself homeless as a child, and yet his colleagues say he does the job of about 6 councillors and 2 mayors on his own. As we all know, holding others to account is easy, but being held to account when things go wrong really isn't. Paul has taken full ownership of every situation that's arisen and has always held himself to Lewisham's local standard of being an open and transparent council. Finally, this note from another colleague. He's modest, plus bakes a wonderful vegan cake. Now we come to Councillor David Brake of Medway Council. When public health moved out of NHS and into local authorities, David Brake took the responsibility seriously. The result? A dynamic initiative based on prevention being better than cure. As chair of the Medway Health and Wellbeing Board and a member of the new Kent and Medway Integrated Care System Partnership, he inspires people to look after their own health before the NHS has to do it for them. He leads by example, whether that's being the face of the flu vaccine campaign, rolling his sleeves up to demonstrate cooking skills to children and young people, or supporting the opening of a local health improvement shop that provides stop smoking, healthy weight and health checks for residents in deprived areas. And Councillor Brake is a Better Medway champion. This community-based project seeks to upskill local community champions to better understand health improvement and provide advice, guidance and signposting within their local community. And that's not all. Last year, he enlisted the help of the local scouts, volunteers to plant 4,000 crocus bulbs in and around the ward. The idea being that the bulbs bloomed into a beautiful purple colour to commemorate the success of vaccinations in eradicating polio. A councillor of African and Irish heritage, Leanne Igbon has dedicated her life to the voluntary sector, especially children, young people and families, delivering play, youth support, employability, safeguarding schemes and a strategic campaign against serious youth violence and gang culture, which is showing considerable success in a city which has had more than its fair share of tragedy. In particular, Leanne's nomination highlights her lead role working with Greater Manchester Police after a stabbing or a shooting to offer community reassurance, giving families one-to-one support, informing services where to go for assistance, being a go-to for the police and family, and importantly offering diversity activities for young people impacted by the incident to reduce trauma and minimise any comeback violence. But it's her work with the Hume Christmas response that brought real joy like this.
How did you get help from the food response?
We got presents, food and help for our house.
Oh, was it good?
Yes.
Can you remember what present you got, Nyla?
I think I got that.
That was just one of 800 families who Leanne made sure that lockdown would not cancel Christmas, in Manchester at least. As Deputy Leader of Brent Council and Cabinet Lead of the Finance Committee, you would think that Margaret McLennan had more than enough on her plate, but that doesn't begin to describe the powerful impact she's made on the work of her council and indeed beyond to all of London. Nominated by those she works with every day, she's described as head and shoulders above the rest in all the duties she undertakes, as well as her role as a lead manager in the NHS. The mark of a true professional can be seen, they say, in her handling of council finances. But you can also detect McLennan of the NHS in her passion for championing the physical and mental health needs of her constituents. A letter she signed recently, published in The Times, called on the Chancellor to prioritise children and young families in his spending review. It said, "If we are to truly build back better from COVID-19 and level up our country, children and young people have to be at the forefront of spending plans. We call on the government to rebalance spending towards early intervention and ensure long-term funding for children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities." When the pandemic hit, Neil Pryor had the innovative idea to have connected communities involving all the small hamlets and villages within his electoral ward in Pembrokeshire. It was an instant hit.
We've had a great day today at our Connected Community event. Over 50 local residents came along, and even those who've lived in the area for a long time found something new today.
I was pleased with the way the day went. There were more people than I was expecting, and the level of interest was considerable.
We're really chuffed at how many people came to our event today. If you missed out, don't worry. We'll be having many events in the future, and we hope that this was kick-starting some exciting things to come.
And there are always wider issues in any rural community. Something Neil Pryor made sure widened the work and the influence of the Connected Communities initiative.
We've been going 12 years helping people in the community with their problems, and we use our experts in the field where we live as well. We are pleased to be with Clanrian Connected Communities, and thank you to the support from Neil and all the team.
So you can see, again, incredibly impressive innovation, and to do that in such difficult times is just incredible. So all of the shortlisted councillors deserve real congratulation. But it's my great honour to announce the winner of this year's Innovation and Service Transformation Award is Councillor Paul Bell of Lewisham Council. Sadly, Paul can't be with us tonight. I think he's the famous last words, but I think he's the only one of our winners who can't make it tonight. He's not here, but we will make sure that he gets the news and that he receives his trophy. So congratulations to Paul. The next award is for Young Councillor of the Year. So we know that the average age of councillors is still, as it has been for at least 10 years since I've been Minister, but the average age of a councillor is 59. So this, the mean average across the country is 59. So this award specifically recognises a councillor 30 or under when last elected who's contributed significantly to their community. Again, a massively impressive shortlist. It's not easy being a councillor, and it's not easy coming into it as a new role, and we'll see some amazing stories of people who've really hit the ground running and taken that role to new heights. So let's hear a bit about the shortlist.
As a child refugee from Afghanistan, Peymana Assad knows what thousands of people fleeing the Taliban regime are currently going through, and she's determined that they will find safety and peace in their new homes here. Hugely active in Harrow's Afghan refugee response, she's been working to raise £70,000 for voluntary sector organisations. She's also raised £6,000 directly through the Harrow Giving charity and donation sites across the borough. This all helped to set up an Afghan refugee task force group, which includes housing, charities, council and education for the new influx of Afghan refugees. Her work with Community Action South Harrow has transformed Harrow Council's ability to provide proper street lighting, murals, pavement widening, street briefings with police and litter picking activity. Since taking on her new cabinet role of community cohesion, crime and enforcement, she's organising regular police street briefings and really empowering members in the South Harrow community, delivering their first Diwali and Christmas lights in 30 years. Chris Burden stands tall in his fight for equality, personally as a campaigner for gay rights who's faced challenges and hate crime, and professionally in his support for the West Midlands Young Combined Authority, a remarkable organisation that ensures young people from all walks of life have a voice in the issues that affect their lives across the region.
Chris's mindset and his character just honestly fills me with huge thankfulness, I suppose, with the way in which he's enabled me to feel much more confident and give me that give me that belief that we can do something special here in the West Midlands.
Chris led, organised and delivered the first ever youth hustings in the West Midlands and organised meetings with young people to write and publish the first ever youth manifesto. His chairing of the WMYCA allowed him to tutor young people in how to stand for election, and he was critical in securing funding for further years of the WMYCA from the combined authority. This has had an enormous impact on young people in Wolverhampton as well as in the wider region. Dakota Dibben brought years of experience at the National Trust and English Heritage to his role as ward councillor for Eistead Rise in 2019. Here's what his constituents say about him.
If ever I've had a problem for myself, for other residents, for my family, he has always responded. He has always helped in whatever way that he can. And when it came to the park project, as soon as we decided that something more we wanted to do, he jumped on board without hesitation.
So the Eistead Park project was set up by a group of parents who wanted to improve the space we have here in the park facilities with new equipment. It has since expanded to other ideas around the community centre that we can build, like a cycle park and a mental wellbeing sensory garden. What sets Dakota apart from other councillors is that he genuinely cares, and we can see that as a community.
I would say look to your local councillor as a good example of what is involved. Politics isn't just people in suits in Westminster. It is right on your doorstep. It is caring about the community, and it's making sure that everyone gets what they need.
It was quite a small garden, and we decided that we needed something bigger for the children, so we started to work with Dakota to get the project going, and it was to make the garden a little bit bigger and more involved for the children. Councillor Dakota did come actually hands-on, which I didn't think he would, but he did.
Dedicated, caring and enthusiastic.
Passionate, motivated, and just a joy to be around.
Amy Healy has led on the school streets projects in Brighton and Hove, which have made a big impact on children and parents taking their children to school. There were several schools which she managed to convince to sign up to try out the idea, volunteering at one of the schools regularly herself. She's seen through a lot of changes in the local transport network, implementing cycle lanes as part of the government's emergency active travel.
She's exceptional. She's always gone to lots of trouble to help everybody in the community, no matter what party they support. As a charity, being apolitical, that's really important to us as well. And she's also very engaging, has helped us engage with the council, with their teams, with other councillors.
Amy and her team have done amazing things over the last 18 months in Brighton and Hove for cycling. And as a community group, we feel fully supported by them and listened to. They've got 100% behind Conservative policy on cycling, which really shows that they're keen to depoliticise cycling, even in the face of harsh criticism from some fringe groups.
Implementing these schemes has proved controversial, and unfortunately Amy has been the target of some abuse. But she dealt with this with amazing resilience. As the environment lead on the country's only Green Party-led council, Amy is as cool as a cucumber. Adam Jogee, the first mayor of Haringey from the Muslim community, helps, they say, restore faith in politics. He's embraced his role as mayor and given a special focus to both supporting and motivating Haringey's young people. And at 29, he's uniquely placed to do that. And he's embraced the fight against COVID with energy, enthusiasm and tenacity. As a black British man, he's directly and powerfully sought to challenge the vaccine stigma in some BAME communities through campaigning, public meetings, social media, and using every opportunity he has to make the case for the vaccine.
As a doctor and COVID lead, I'm both grateful and proud to have nominated Councillor Adam Jogee, who's gone above and beyond supporting vaccine deployment across the London Borough of Haringey. As the Mayor of Haringey, he's volunteered on numerous occasions, supporting vaccine delivery across our sites, which have now delivered over 250,000 vaccines. As a role model and community leader, he's steered efforts to tackle health inequalities in London, and to reduce differential outcomes for black and minority ethnic groups during the pandemic. Recently, in arranging a royal visit, he helped highlight the challenges for our communities in Haringey on a national stage, resulting in measurable improvements.
And he's used social media very effectively, directing people to the nearest testing sites and vaccination centres, as well as encouraging mask wearing. Confidence, that's the personality description most often given to Rachel Melly. And it's this confident approach to issues that's made this young councillor in opposition achieve significant change in York, where she represents the Holgate ward. Most prominently, York is now a trans-inclusive council, and that's largely attributed to Rachel's clear and direct advocacy of the action needed to improve inclusivity, awareness and perceptions of trans people. Her nomination highlights that it's her ability to present an alternative, more balanced view from the one often being given by the council that marks her out. Whether it's to end the UK's involvement in selling arms to Saudi Arabia for use in its war with Yemen, or being a strong advocate for disabled blue badge holders whose ability to park in the city centre could be permanently curtailed by the council administration's plans for extended foot streets. Or fighting the closure to a major road near the city centre that it's claimed is essential to expansion plans of the National Railway Museum. All in all, her role on Labour's shadow executive has served democracy well in York. Imogen Payter's early childhood was spent in an exceptionally deprived area of the borough of Havant, and she's now a role model for others in a similar situation. A councillor only since last May, Imogen has already made a major impact, founding the Havant Business Association, working alongside local shopkeepers in her ward. This is helping to bridge a gap that the council was finding in engagement with local businesses as it brings forward its regeneration strategy and plans. It's also the first organisation in the town centre that's bringing together businesses and residents for the benefit of the whole community. She's also founding the Young Councillors Association that's going to be helping, mentoring and encouraging other young people to stand for election. Before being elected, despite her age, she's been a community champion, leading a coronavirus response volunteer group in her area that helped hundreds of people. Every day, she brings a smile and energy to everything she does, and nobody who meets her can ever forget it. Joe Porter, the District Councillor for Brown Edge and Endon at Staffordshire Moorlands District Council, realised what the major concern would be in his rural ward along a canal when the COVID pandemic hit. With a large elderly population, it would be isolation and loneliness. So he set up Food for Endon, and that involved bringing together Moorlands District Council, Haregate Community Centre in Leek, and Endon's two churches, Endon St Luke's Church and Endon Methodist Church. He travels from Endon to Leek every Tuesday morning to collect bags of fruit and vegetables from Haregate Community Centre's community cupboard and would spend around 3 hours delivering them in person to every household in his list. But there is a need for well-being needs to be fed too, and so he invented Help and Hope to deliver weekly shopping, collect pharmacy prescriptions and run weekly chats with elderly and vulnerable people who may feel isolated. The result? Amongst many letters of thanks, a personal one from the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, who wrote, "Whether delivering fresh fruit and vegetables to the doorsteps of the elderly or connecting local residents through your online forum, you're showing the kindness and community spirit that defines the very best of Britain."
Thank you. So, I think you can see why judging these awards is such a tough job. Before we announce the winner, on behalf of the judging panel, we would like to give special commendations to two people. To Councillor Peymana Assad of Harrow Council and Councillor Christopher Burden of Wolverhampton. Congratulations. And now, the winner of the 2021 Young Councillor of the Year Award is Councillor Amy Heleych of Brighton and Hove, Sister Councillor. Amy's joining us on Zoom. Hi Amy, congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us virtually. I hope you enjoy the celebrations and we'll make sure your trophy makes its way to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Paul,
and well done to everyone else nominated.
Thank you. We'll make sure we'll put it in the post or courier it. We'll get it to you somehow. Thank you very much and congratulations.
There we are. That's Amy Heleych, our young councillor. Is that wonderful? I mean, is there a single issue that doesn't affect our lives that councillors haven't been involved in benefiting? I don't think there is. It's amazing. So, Jonathan, don't go far away because we're going to move straight on now, I think. No, we're going to talk about the LGIU. So the work of the LGIU goes beyond these shores. They now operate in Scotland, Ireland and Australia, as well as across England and Wales. And their growing family brings added value to all their members, wherever they are. Let's hear a bit more about the work of the LGIU.
The Local Government Information Unit is the longest-serving local government membership organisation in the UK. The original LGIU, established in 1983, continues to support local government every day with the training, skills and unrivalled intelligence to help them serve their citizens more effectively. At LGIU, we believe that solutions can be found by sharing problems. Inspiration from best practices can lead to local innovation. Celebrating successes from elsewhere can keep us motivated in our own communities. That is why the LGIU continues to grow across the globe. Now as LGIU England and Wales, LGIU Scotland, LGIU Ireland, and LGIU Australia, we work for and with many more local authorities around the world, sharing the ideas and solutions needed to provide sustainable public services in the future. And our newly launched Local Democracy Research Centre has been created to help unlock the latest research and connect our members in local government with academic networks seeking to understand how to tackle these challenges around the world. The work of local government never stops, and neither do we, the LGIU, here to support local government every day. Become a member today.
There, I think. We have seen the Young Councillor of the Year, celebrated her success. Now we're going to move to the other end of the age range, if you like, and hear about the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I'd like to ask Councillor Susie Morley, who is leader of Mid Suffolk District Council, to come up to the stage and give us the information, some details of the nominees and the winner, of course. Susie. Oh, I'll give you your microphone in a moment.
It's a great honour to be here tonight on behalf of the Councillor Awards judging panel to present this year's Lifetime Achievement Award. This award celebrates a councillor who has made a positive and lasting contribution to their community through many years of service on their council. For 15 years or more, they will have maintained their passion and enthusiasm for improving the lives of their residents. Let's hear a bit more about this year's Lifetime Achievement shortlist and their remarkable achievements.
The ultimate recognition of a councillor's work is that it actually changes lives. And Marlene Heron, a councillor for nearly 20 years, with a special interest in housing, has indeed changed the lives of countless residents. Here are just a few.
I've become involved in the Friends of Rosedale Park through Councillor Heron, and that was before the pandemic started, and that has been so useful, and I feel that I'm actually able to do something of benefit, but it's also benefited me.
She helped us mum set up a community centre that is still running now, because there was lots of concerns about our young people getting into trouble on that. And one of the things I remember Marlene text when we was like talking to her and saying, you know, as mums, what can we do to change our children's lives? Councillor Herring's words was like, your mums, there's nothing more fierce than a mum wanting to protect her children. So she really helped us get that community centre built and set up, you know, the Residents Association.
Her work has been recognised by royalty, but it's the residents who she's intervened on behalf of who know the difference a councillor can make, particularly as an intermediary when contractors refurbish. Marlene is always at the end of the phone or visiting the homes in person to help mediate tensions. Her professional background as a housing manager means she can challenge the contractor when necessary about the standard of the work and help the tenants cope with the disruption.
When something goes wrong, the first thing people say to block is, oh, have you spoke to Marlene about it? And we just always get helped. And now, in the long run, Marlene helping us has actually made me want to become a housing manager now.
We were working class mums on a council estate without many qualifications between us. But Councillor Herring was like, don't let that ever hold you back. So she was a very motivational person, and I really do feel that she is an elected member of the community and she knows her community really well.
This is a Lifetime Achievement category, and Sheila Peacock has certainly packed a lifetime's achievement into her 90 years, nearly 30 of them as a councillor. She's described as fearless, a natural leader. They say her energy levels are quite astounding and her drive to get a job done never falters. For example, she was the driving force behind reforming the Tottenham Carnival in 2000, part of the most successful community festival the borough has known. She's been key in motivating the Supported Housing Committee, ensuring that delegates attend quarterly meetings and increasing membership of the Haringey Pensions Action from 50 to 350. Her success lies in the events and organisations she founded continuing to this day, the lives giving joy in local activities and opportunities and the happy memories created. Sheila doesn't hesitate to approach anyone that can open doors or assist her people. Tottenham is in her blood and engraved on her heart. As the borough's first female mayor, Hilda Rhodes has served her local community for 34 years as a passionate and dedicated councillor. She's provided a consistently strong local voice on a range of local issues impacting young and old alike. For the youngest, Hilda was actively involved in safeguarding the Oakengates Children's Centre and Nursery School, which was under threat of closure in 2019, by ensuring the responsibility for running the centre was granted to Oakengates Town Council. The centre has since offered summer holiday activities, sports activities, film and craft clubs that are either free or affordable for local families. For the oldest, Hilda dedicated herself to the introduction of the Oakengates Senior Social Club in 2018 to tackle issues of isolation and loneliness.
It's done the community good. She tries her hardest for everybody. If she's able to do it, she will do it for you. You've just got to ask. She's so approachable. She's such a beautiful lady. She's one in a million.
And it's the Wakes Community Centre that wouldn't be where it is today without Hilda's energy and commitment. It had begun to show its age, but Hilda could see its potential. She secured £150,000 from the Telford 50 Legacy Fund as part of the town's anniversary celebrations. Hilda's vision and ambition means that the centre can offer a safe and welcome environment as a central community hub long into the future. Peter Ruffles has served the Hertford community in county, district and town wards since 1976. Listing all of the positions he's held over this time would form a report itself, but Peter's commitment to local people is there for all to see. Since first being elected, Peter has been Vice Chairman of Hertfordshire County Council, twice Mayor of Hertford, twice chairman of East Harts District Council, spent 6 years as deputy to one or other, the chairman of scrutiny and standing committees from arts, sports, transport and highways, museums, and spent 37 years as a member of development control committees on 3 authorities. Peter's length of public service and steadfast commitment to serving the people of Hertford include being Hertfordshire's representative on the police and crime panel, working with others to bring local crime right down. That gave him an MBE, but it's true to say he's spent the vast majority of his life doing everything he can to improve Hertford. Those who live there say the results are clear to see. With 58 years continuous elected service, at 81 years old, Dale Smith certainly brings a lifetime's experience to public service. The Bradford District Councillor was first elected in 1963, with a special emphasis on education. Dale championed the Bradford and Keighley Youth Parliament and the young people involved, one of the most enthusiastically supported youth parliaments in the country. More recently, he became the founder chairman of the Bradford Dragon Boat Festival, which for the last 4 years has raised money for the Lord Mayor's charity. It's a huge public event in Roberts Park and of enormous importance to cohesion and youth engagement. His charity, the Lord Mayor Sprinkle Sunshine, was a district-wide distribution of pockets of seed money to worthy causes, raising about £150,000. One of his first was to Canterbury Imagine, a Dolly Parton library scheme which enrolled children at birth and sent free of charge a monthly book through the post to their home to encourage parent-carer bonding and reading until their 5th birthday. To date, over 1,000 children have benefited. Strong, sturdy, no nonsense, looked up to by all from the youngsters to the elders. Well, these are words which best describe Steve Walmsley's robust approach to local politics, which over 25 years has achieved much to improve the lives of many in Stockton-on-Tees. It's true to say that Steve has endured many trying times helping residents, sometimes even under threat. But one thing for which he is universally admired is his support for a memorial to the Dibbles Bridge disaster, Britain's worst road accident in which 32 people died.
I heard the sound of awful sound of rushing wind. Oh, it was terrible. And then I heard the sound of breaking glass. And I knew no more.
The memorial's to be sited outside Thornaby Town Hall. As Mayor, he has ensured that this terrible disaster, which devastated Thornaby and is still remembered to this day by the whole of the town, has helped bring closure for many who lost loved ones on that fateful day. He's a member of the Towns Deal, which has helped get government funding of some nearly £24 million to improve housing in the rundown area of North Thornaby, improve Thornaby Town Centre, create cycle routes in the town, create training facilities in the town for the young.
Thank you. And now it is my very great pleasure to announce that the winner of this year's Lifetime Achievement Awards is Councillor Sheila Peacock of Haringey Council for her outstanding achievements over an extensive career as a local councillor.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it. I'm absolutely stunned. Can I thank everybody here? You absolutely caught me by surprise, because every single candidate that you shortlisted was absolutely wonderful, and I would have given it to all of them. They're all absolutely brilliant. I think they deserve a round of applause. I'm here today because of all the work that I've been doing in Haringey. I'm born and bred in Tottenham and a Spurs supporter, and I live near there. But I would like to thank Kate for nominating me, because she's absolutely a stunner. I'm just amazed. I'm sorry, I'm breathless. I can't believe it. All the work that I've done, and now you've recognised it. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Richly deserved. Well done. Sheila Peacock. Lifetime Award of the Year. Well, we hope, in a position of recovery, a year of recovery, fingers crossed. So now it's time to have the category for resilience and recovery. And I'd like to ask Kelly Watson of the local government founding partners, the CCLA. She's Relationship Manager. Kelly Watson, to announce all the nominees.
Thank you very much. Hopefully the microphone is placed well. CCLA are extremely proud to be the founding partner and to have worked so closely with LGIU for the past 12 years. These awards are an absolutely fantastic opportunity to recognise and honour, and I think that's a really important word, to honour those that are leading right across local government. Local government has delivered in so many ways right across the country, and we are honoured to stand alongside every single one of you in the room, virtually, but also right across every part of the United Kingdom. The hard work done by councillors and council leaders generally is behind the scenes, which actually, I think this is a fantastic opportunity for us to bring that to the forefront and to celebrate the achievements that you have all been working incredibly hard on. As councils shift from response into a recovery phase, we know that it's going to be incredibly important now to build our resilient communities so that we can actually better cope as we move forward from here. The winner of this category will have recognised the importance of place, introduced strategies and policies that deliver solutions to incredibly big social issues, such as climate change, promoting health and disease prevention, food security, and community collaboration. The shortlisted councillors in this category have excelled in their communities and are heroes to us all. Let's hear a little bit more about their work.
Mark Canniford brings decades of experience in business to his role in Weston-super-Mare Town Council, where he was Town Mayor between 2019 and 2021, serving a double term to help give stability to the town during the COVID-19 pandemic. He's described as energetic and vocal.
I've seen the impact Mark Canniford has made to the town of Weston-super-Mare. He's a natural entrepreneur. He's brought sense and organisation to the town. In his role of mayor, he created a vitality that I've never seen in the 20 years I've been principal and chief executive of Weston College.
One of his main achievements was to initiate a new Made in North Somerset scheme to promote and support locally made products, and delivered a new web portal to promote virtual high streets. But he hasn't forgotten the real high streets as well.
I think Mark's best quality as a councillor is really his ability to talk to people and cut through the politics to get actual action and bring about change. And that's really evident from the placemaking strategy that's exploded in the last year. A big part of what we'll be doing going forward is working with the council and local businesses to develop marketing and new projects in the town centre.
Being awarded the MBE for services to her local community encouraged Sam Davis to stand as an independent councillor for the Queen Edith ward in Cambridge. Asked how Sam responds to issues, one said, "For most things I don't even have to contact her because I find out she's already on the case and they're being sorted."
She's trustworthy, passionate about community spirit, gets the job done and keeps her word for everything.
She's always present. She's always in the Queen Edith area. She takes part in the school fetes, and you always see her around, and she's always on the ball with what's going on in the Queen Edith ward.
We have had a lot of troubles with our bike stores, and a lot of thieves have entered our enclosed bike stores in Nineworth. And having some listening to us and having her on our side at the council level is going to help both our development and further development in Queen Edith.
They say her entire pandemic project is testament to Sam's belief that we need to build a better world from local communities upwards, and hope that Sam's example will encourage other community leaders to step up and become councillors. There's not much that gets in the way of Councillor Paulette Hamilton when she has a campaign to fight, and the big one this year has been persuading the BAME communities and Black Caribbean community in Birmingham, hardest hit of all by COVID, to get vaccinated. She even campaigned nationally on Good Morning Britain to spread the word.
The Asian, the Black and African Caribbean community were disproportionately affected by the virus in the first place. And let's face it, if you're from an ethnic minority group, originally the side effects, if you contracted the virus, were far worse. So I did have some reservations. The problem I feel the community have, and True is spot on because this is what I'm hearing time and time again, it's not that they don't want the vaccine, it's that they want questions answered.
As a black woman talking peer-to-peer to others reluctant to take the vaccine, there's no doubt that her work saved lives in her community. This volunteer frontline work was on top of an already hugely demanding cabinet portfolio, national work, and her regular ward work as a nurse.
During the pandemic, she supported young and old, lonely and isolated. What astonished me during these challenging times is that she didn't hesitate to support a friendly neighbouring ward. This is my experience of a 10-year-old living in Handsworth Wood.
A daughter of Jamaican immigrants, she beat low expectations and lifelong racism to become a nurse, earn a degree, be headhunted by the Royal College of Nursing, and be elected to Europe's largest local authority as Birmingham's first black female cabinet member. A multilingual nurse and a stalwart of the Sikh community, Parbinder Kaur has inspired her constituents, many of them elderly, to stay fit and active, and to do their bit in the fight against the COVID pandemic by getting vaccinated. How's she done this? By walking. A simple approach, but highly effective. Parbinder's weekly walks allow anyone to approach and talk to her. She organises the routes with great skill and works closely with the police. The result? There's been a noticeable decrease in crime in her area, evidence that increased pride in the community actually produces tangible results.
She's a fantastic nurse, very dedicated. As Mike and Susie said, she will put the patients and the staff first. She's very dedicated. She often brings food in, feeds us, and as a manager, I'm often brought cups of tea and biscuits.
They say she's a neighbour first, then a councillor and a nurse. Empowering women, clearing rubbish from the streets, encouraging health and fitness, the very essence of the impact a councillor can have on so many lives. Councillor Abigail Marshall-Katoon owned her own medical business for 14 years before going into frontline politics, and she takes on issues at a brisk pace. Not surprising, as Councillor Abigail is also an England athletics coach and specialises in sprinting, coaching children at the Leeds City Athletics Club weekly. But it's her work for the community in Leeds that we celebrate tonight. 10 months after being elected as a councillor, the country went into lockdown. Abigail quickly recognised the urgency of food to be provided to vulnerable people and organised for a multicultural food hub to be created in her ward and led by the Leeds African Communities Trust.
There was strong partnership working centrally with Fair Share Yorkshire and Rethink Food, working with Leeds City Council to pump food all around the city to
I think it was about 30 different coronavirus hubs. One of them was the one in Woodhouse in Little London, run by Oblong, and also Hyde Park in Headingley, working with Hyde Park Source and Redwood Junction. I was personally connected to them, but there was lots of other stuff around the city in places like Pudsey, and Otley, and East Leeds, and South Leeds, West and North. Just want to say a massive well done for everyone's efforts.
Every week without fail she came, and she worked tirelessly to ensure that the volunteers did as they were supposed to, and also she made sure that all the persons who came to the food hub was well looked after. Thank you very much, Councillor.
Mohammed Nazem, first elected in Keighley in 2007 and then elected Keighley Town Mayor 10 years later, has done some amazing work in the community, but his most recent work with vaccine rollout in the BAME areas has been outstanding. He worked alongside the Keighley Central Mosque and the Modality Partnership to help stop misinformation and help bring the uptake of the vaccine from different ethnicities in the area.
Vaccine rollout is the best tool in our fight against COVID-19, and we must do all we can to ensure there are no racial disparities in its uptake. This Saturday, I was lucky enough to visit the Keighley Central Mosque, where 525 vaccinations were delivered on that day alone. Will my right honourable friend join me in congratulating all those involved, particularly Mohammed Nazem from the Keighley Muslim Association and the Modality Partnership, in all their efforts to ensure everyone is protected against COVID-19.
It's very true to say that Mohammed Nazem, known as Naz, has saved lives by encouraging a community characterised as vaccine hesitant to take up the vaccine.
One day, I was talking to my 6-year-old granddaughter, and she advised me to get the vaccine. And when I asked her why, she told me that I can live for 100 years. That's why I'm here.
As one of the first mosques in the country to do this work, Keighley Mosque was featured extensively on national and local press and TV. This message and promotion will have encouraged thousands of British Muslims around the country to get vaccinated. Matthew Relf has the sort of popularity ratings that Prime Ministers and other politicians can only dream of. He was re-elected to Ashfield District Council in May 2019 with 88% of the vote. In a way, that's a perfect example of the phrase that money talks, because his overarching achievement was to raise more than £70 million to regenerate Sutton in Ashfield. Most of that from the town's fund for the Kirkby in Ashfield and Sutton in Ashfield areas.
This is known as the West Kirkby Gateway Project, where we're going to be refurbishing this whole entranceway to the station so that it becomes a more inviting place, make people more able to use the station. We've also been having meetings with the Department for Transport about introducing step-free access. That's not part of the town's fund, but is absolutely something we are working towards. Over here, we've got the vacant site down there that we're going to be working to redevelop into a new residential and commercial space so that it's more inviting. And then out front here, we're going to be having new bus pull-ins so that we can have much easier interaction between coming off the train and getting straight onto a bus.
The Towns Fund Successful Award for the Ashfield District was more than double anywhere else in England. Matthew led the project from start to finish, working with council officers and council members to deliver the most successful community consultation since Ashfield District Council was created in 1974. It's been a challenging couple of years for Hazel Simmons, leader of Luton Council. When air travel almost completely stopped because of the COVID pandemic, that was the end of much of the town's economy, which relies so much on Luton Airport. But through it all, she's kept projects like town regeneration and the airport's Dart Railway on the agenda, while always taking community views into account as she struggles to meet the budget challenge and preserve people's town, homes and jobs. They say she does always listen, never judging or dismissing people's views. She'll sit down and take coffee with people. She will always recognise officers and remember their name, their work, and thank people for their contribution. Any political leader can expect to take a lot of criticism locally and nationally as well as politically. and because Luton sadly is often cited in a negative way. However, Hazel never loses sight of the fact that behind the banner of Luton there are people, families, children and individuals with needs.
For being shortlisted. Before we do announce the winner, on behalf of the judging panel, we would like to give a special commendation. Just want to say that the work really stood out and would like to thank you for all you do in your community. The special commendation goes to Councillor Mohammed Nazam of the City of Bradford Metropolitan District Council. Okay, and on to the winner. So the winner of the 2021 Resilience and Recovery Award is Councillor Paulette Hamilton of Birmingham City Council. A huge congratulations for the work that you do.
I would love to. Can I say to everyone in the room and at home, back in Birmingham, and the things I do across the country, I can't do it without the support I get from others. The community I serve, they are awesome. The cabinet I sit in Birmingham City Council are so supportive. They push me to a level that you just won't imagine. But I want to give a special thanks to my husband and my family that don't see me, as many as you councillors will know. When you're working at 2 o'clock at night and your husband just turns round and he grunts because he knows that the work that you've got to do is so important, but it means that you haven't got as much time for the family. So I just want to thank you all. I want to thank the judging panel, because but the community I serve, they are awesome. And I just want to say thank you to the citizens of Birmingham, but also thank you to the LGIU for giving me this award. Thank you very much.
That happened, didn't it? Okay, well, it's the final category of the night. Yes, Leader of the Year. Jonathan, more details.
Thank you, Paul. So, yep, we're on the final award of the night, the Leader of the Year, an award that doesn't need much introduction. You all know what a council leader does. You all know why it's so important. So let's hear about our shortlisted candidates.
Sam Chapman-Allen became leader of Breckland District Council in Norfolk in early 2020. Weeks later, lockdown began. This Greater London overspill town has, since the 1960s, been an acknowledged area of social deprivation. But Sam's leadership has always been driven by strong, practical action. He put large refrigerators in a central position in Thetford, stocked with essential foodstuffs. He launched a community shop in the Charles Burrell Centre in Thetford, the first of its kind in East Anglia. Sam's military training, especially with a requirement for good, effective leadership instilled in him in his time at RAF Cranwell, was crucial.
When Sam was elected as leader a couple of years ago, he made it clear that he wanted to see Breckland Council focus on putting people first, particularly those residents who are most vulnerable. And as a direct result, through the Council's new £1 million vulnerability agenda, we're now delivering a range of projects which support local people's mental health, tackle drug and people trafficking, and help people overcome social isolation. despite more than half of Sam's tenure overlapping with the COVID pandemic, which has brought challenges for all of us, Sam didn't let it derail the council or his vision for how we support local people and businesses. In fact, he used the pandemic and our staff temporarily working from home to deliver a programme to transform the way the council works, including modernising our office environment, as you can see from behind me, and putting in place policies which support our staff to work in a more agile way and within the community. It is fantastic to have a leader who is so encouraging and supportive of the staff so that they can be at their best and ultimately deliver the best services for Breckland. Sam has shown superb visible leadership, he's been brave and decisive, he's listened to the opinions of members from all political colours and worked truly cross-party to deliver services which address the unique challenges of a large rural district.
Sam truly puts the people of Breckland first, irrespective of political persuasion, ethnicity or situation, and his dedication and hard work are demonstrated by the loyalty and respect of those working with him. It's his unstinting efforts to keep businesses afloat in the face of monumental economic challenges that marks out Sean Davis as a council leader. Here are just two stories. First, a young person who Sean helped find a future when obstacles stood in her way.
The grant scheme was for my passport and everything for the Navy, but unfortunately, due to medical reasons, I wasn't able to join them. So they've helped me train up on different skills and everything to land me with the job I have now.
And the Jolly Good Eggs, who have Sean to thank for their thriving pantry business.
We were given the opportunity to open the Jolly Good Pantry, and Sean has been so supportive of that. He came here to the opening day to cut the ribbon for us. He's popped in 2 or 3 times just to say hi. So we find him, he's very approachable, a real gentleman, takes the time to actually listen to what you have to say, and I feel that he does take on board any comments and things that we have. So yes, I think he's an all-round very good person.
They say Sean Davis creates a culture of well-being and inclusion within the council. His leadership has enabled Telford and Wrekin to win Best Council Awards. He's fantastic foresight and is always a step ahead in business and innovation. It's not an exaggeration to say that West Berkshire Council's authority has been completely transformed under Lynn Doherty's leadership, and it's all down to open, honest communication. Realising early on in her leadership that local people were looking for reassurance in difficult times and that strong leadership would provide this, she immediately called in the LGA to review performance and drove through a new communication strategy with Facebook Live events, a newsletter which now has 50,000 subscribers after just 1 year, focus groups and peer networks which didn't exist before. The new Environmental Action Group is shaping their approach to the climate emergency, as well as outreach events in schools to both promote the value of careers in public service and to encourage stewardship across generations. In the past month, West Berkshire has welcomed 160 Afghan refugees to the district, and Lynn has led the community response and welcome for them, encouraging donations from the public and facilitating support from the public, private and voluntary sectors in a way that has seen West Berkshire Council commended by the Home Office. Georgia Gould at Camden, one of the youngest council leaders in the country, has experienced more than most in a lifetime. Her excellent leadership shone through when she had to take some very difficult decisions during the evacuation of the Chalcots estate after the fire at Grenfell Tower and manage the aftermath of that crisis. Since then, Georgia has put all her energies to making sure that the borough of Camden recovers from the coronavirus crisis. She co-chaired Camden's Renewal Commission. Through this partnership, Georgia has mobilised a team of 2,000 volunteers and rolled out new services to combat hunger, support distressed businesses, address educational disparities and tackle other challenges triggered by COVID-19. Within 7 weeks, they delivered more than 100,000 meals. They dispatched more than 80,000 pieces of PPE to frontline workers and care staff. They developed a £3 million hardship fund to support residents struggling with financial obligations. And they launched an inquiry into the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on Black, Asian and minority ethnic residents. Reflecting Georgia Gould's collective approach to leadership, she's working with tech companies on a project to create opportunities for young people led by the borough's STEAM, that's Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Maths Commission. When Felon McCafferty became the first ever Green leader of Brighton and Hove City Council, he was plunged into dealing with 3 huge crises: the pandemic, the climate emergency and the housing crisis. And he really made his mark with a strong force in tackling the climate and ecological emergency. This year, he put forward a successful motion to the LGA conference that local government needed a seat at the table in the recent COP26 talks in Glasgow, and has proved to be a persuasive and prominent advocate for the voice of local government at the conference. He's taken very practical steps to ensure Brighton and Hove recovers well from the pandemic. This includes working on the cleanliness of the city centre, with 3 deep cleans taking place since he has become leader, which hadn't happened in previous years, and regular citywide tidy-up events and beach cleans. He's also overseen key tourism, jobs and arts strategies, which the council has produced with the community. The leader of Westminster City Council, Councillor Rachel Robotham, is described as a pavement politician. What does that mean? Well, she might be better known as Lady Robotham, but her work impacts everyone in the heart of the capital. Nobody has public service running through her veins more than Rachel. She faced the challenge of managing a local economy which previously put £72 billion a year into the UK, being devastated as its 1 million daily visitors disappeared. The recovery plan involved keeping businesses running while looking after the needs of 260,000 residents. She created Westminster Connects, an organisation which now numbers 3,000 volunteers. They did everything from knitting face masks to delivering food to the vulnerable. And although al fresco dining might sound like a luxury, it provided an income for businesses hard hit by the pandemic. As the largest licensing authority in the country, Westminster City Council worked with residents and the hospitality trade to allow restaurants to put tables and chairs in temporarily closed streets and parking bays. The initiative took off, and soon 60 streets on a weekend were being turned into temporary dining areas and more than 1,000 temporary licences issued. This provided an economic lifeline to the city's 3,700 restaurants, bars and pubs, which collectively employ 80,000 people. Its success was such that the initiative has been copied nationally. Another example, perhaps, of the impact of being a pavement politician.
There you go. So, it's a great honour to announce that the 2021 winner of a Leader of the Year is Councillor Georgia Gould, Camden Council. Now, ironically, somewhat ironically, we are all here in Camden, but Georgia is in Manchester. But she is with us on Zoom, I think. Georgia, hi.
Hi.
Congratulations. We're sorry you can't be here tonight. I think one of your fellow councillors has offered to pick up the award on your behalf.
My amazing deputy Pat is there, I think.
Okay, we're gonna hand it over to Pat and make sure she gives it back to you when you get back. Georgia, congratulations. Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of the proceedings. Just huge congratulations to all the finalists, all the winners. Some amazing stories, aren't they? Well done to you all. Now, I'm just going to ask Jonathan to come up and say a few words in just a second to round off the proceedings. Just want to say, just before that, that if all the finalists that are here in the hall tonight, once this is over, could come to the stage to have your photographs taken, but more importantly, get your certificates as well, then please do. So I'd like everyone to come up once everything is over. But once again, thanks very much indeed. And over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Paul. And I should say there are certificates for all the shortlisted councillors as well, so do come and get them. Very quickly from me, I don't want to hold you back from your conversation and your drinks any longer. Just some quick thanks. I wanted to say thank you once again to CCLA, who make this all possible. I wanted to say a really massive thank you again to our judging panel. I thanked them at the beginning and I said how difficult it is. I think having seen all the stories of the shortlisted councillors, you will now believe me when I tell you that the judging is an incredibly difficult task, so we're really grateful to them. Look, behind the scenes, I just want to say a huge thank you to my team at LGIU, who've done a huge amount of work to make this happen. We've done this in real life in the past. We've done it virtually in the past. This is the first year that we're doing it in a real life and virtual way. I hope it looks easy to you, but it's incredibly complicated behind the scenes. So thank you to my team, and thank you to the technical team who've done an amazing job. And then just very, very finally, some of them are here in the room, some of them are out there in Zoom land. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who made a nomination, because that's the motor that drives these awards. So to everyone who put pen to paper or keyboard to finger to keyboard to make a nomination for one of the amazing councillors we've heard about tonight, and all of the others who are nominated, thank you all very much. Thank you. Good night.